for us, we fly primarily at night. So typically we wouldn't wake up until 3 or 4 in the afternoon local time and go in to receive your intelligence brief, your mission brief, and then you'd step to fly once the sun had set and you were well into the period of darkness.
Air Force Captain Craig Prather is an MH-53 Pavlo Special Operations helicopter pilot. The Pavlo's been around since Vietnam.
You know, when you think this year's the 60th anniversary of the Air Force, those aircraft have been around almost as long. And it's a special operations aircraft. Specifically, what makes it what it is are the defensive systems that we have on board and some of the electronics that allow us to do our mission in darkness.
There's a pilot, co-pilot, navigator, and left and right tail gunner.
So we start with 6 right there. Then depending on the mission, we can have anywhere from just a few people to 25 or more, depending on where we're going and what we're doing.
On the night of November 13, 2004, Captain Prather was piloting the lead helicopter of 2 in what was expected to be a routine resupply mission from Balad to Baghdad to Fallujah. It was the early days of Operation Phantom Fury. Fierce fighting was underway there, and the helicopters would be flying a route where others had recently been attacked from the ground. The battle sounds you're about to hear were recorded in Captain Prather's MH-53.
Ground fire, 5 o'clock, return fire. Break right, break right.
As we flew across a road out of a ditch, the right gunner, Sergeant Roger Bowers, called ground fire in an enemy position. And I just so happened to fly the aircraft right over the top of where these guys jumped out from, and we started to take rounds from directly underneath the aircraft. Immediately started returning fire with the 50 cal off the tail, which precisely, and also just the noise that it makes, tends to have an impact on the enemy forces that are shooting at us. And we made a break to the right. At the same time, Major Matt Glover's aircraft, who was the number 2 in the formation, he returned fire with his crew members on board as well, and they made a break in the opposite direction. The unfortunate thing about tracers, they work both ways. So our tracers helped our crew members get their rounds on target, but it also continued to highlight our position to the enemy. So subsequently, we made another break back to the left, and as we did that, the second enemy position began to open fire, and it just so happened that they had established themselves in a manner that we would break into one after engaging the other. So at one point, 5 out of the 6 weapons on each bird, all of them 50 cals, were returning fire, accurate fire, against the 2 enemy positions. And we ended up making another 1 or 2 breaks as we dove towards the ground, dodging power lines to try and egress the area.
Everybody's okay, right? Right, good. That's good. Medic's good.
The 2 80-foot Pavlos made their delivery to Camp Fallujah, never turning off the engines on the ground.
Roger Bowers and the rest of the crew members got out, looked the bird over, found a few bullet holes, but nothing that precluded us from leaving the landing zone.
The LZ was small. With the battle raging, more troops and supplies would be flowing into Fallujah. The helicopters needed to clear the space, so they didn't notice an engine cover called a cowling had been damaged by the fire they'd taken. On the return trip, the cowling
flew off and entered the rotor system, the main rotors, and then through the tail rotor, and just bang, you know, the whole helicopter shook at once, and everybody thought, man, this night just keeps getting worse.
Despite the damage, Captain Prather managed to coax his helicopter back to Baghdad.
Basically all the rotor blades, the 6 main rotor blades and the 4 tail rotor blades, had all been shot through or otherwise compromised from the cowling flying through them.
Every crew member on both helicopters was recognized for the action. Captain Prather and Major Glover and his co-pilot were awarded Distinguished Flying Crosses with Valor. All others received the Air Medal with Valor.
We don't consider ourselves unique or special in any way other than we just happened to be the ones that were there that night at that time. And we did what we think anyone else would have done.